Good evening, my name is Holly Bittner, and this is a presentation regarding a lesson I assisted an ESL teacher with. I entitled it Haudenosaunee Reading and Writing Process for Elves by Holly Bittner. The student population that we worked with is at East Merchants Elementary School, 4th grade English language learners. It's a pull-out group, 1 period a day. 4 L's of varying levels studying about American Indians, Haudenosaunee, and for the most part, they are with other 4th grade students all day, so they really only get 1 period of a pull-out. One student is emerging, and the others, I would say, are transitioning to intermediate level. They are from Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. First part of a lesson I'm going to show is the reading that students did regarding a 2-row wampum, and they took their understanding of the text and reflected and made a personal connection. After a gallery walk of several symbols, students saw symbols of 5 arrows, 2-row wampum, they saw a tree of peace, seal of the Haudenosaunee. These were the symbols of the Indian culture. And then the teacher showed them symbols of modern day American and Canadian flags and the Haudenosaunee flag, and peace sign, symbol of a heart, symbol of eagle, and a discussion regarding these symbols and how it adds to oral tradition. Furthermore, after a whiteboard presentation of notes, students continued to write and discuss about the wampum. Here you see a planning sheet for a wampum belt. The student is interested in music and animals and friendship. So the order that the student's going to talk in the paper is the order you see, symbol 1, 2, and 3. Students then continued on to write about their symbols in a paragraph organizer. So this is a really nice scaffold for an L, and most of the questions are right there on the page for them. This symbol wrote, "I love to sing and dance," and that was about her musical note. And her second symbol about cats, because she loves nature and animals, and her peace sign, and she says, "I love friends," and hates to fight. I wrote in the speaker notes down below that you can't see on the page right now, but she's got a couple of mistakes, and L's need to be taught about verb form agreeing with subject. So you can see she has I love friends and hates fights, This lesson goes very nicely with Common Core NALP standards for 4th grade. In the pull-out group, the students can engage in small group participation, speaking, having collaborative conversations, discussing their own ideas and thoughts, in the picture you'll see Marissa is working with an anchor chart, and the students are reading and also writing phrases and sentences. One student is drawing pictures. They feel more comfortable sharing in that capacity, and eventually moving on to the writing and the paragraphs, completing the graphic organizer, and then synthesizing their ideas. Grade 4 standards, more standards. These are laid out for the students in an I can fashion. Personal wampum belts is the main theme of this lesson, and making connections to the text through artwork and writing in response to the themes that they've studied in class. They engage in collaborative discussion, so it's a lot of good. Here is the wampum belt, that is the completed wampum belt to place on the published paper as the illustration. And this was fun for them because it gave them the personal connection, describing their own feelings and what the symbols meant to them personally. And this really is Carol's point of making lessons relevant to the learner. You know, this is really embedded in the heart of this lesson. The next slide I'd like to show you has to do with the mini lesson. ELs need explicit instruction on grammar and understanding also run-ons, fragments, and what a complete sentence compared with fragments and run-ons, so they can really hone in for their own writing and have an understanding that when they come to a sentence that does not have a subject and a verb, it's considered a run-on. Again, this is relevant to what they're studying, and this is exactly what Krashen and Carol both talk about when they talk about making that connection. It's motivating for them to want to publish this piece of writing. So those fragments, run-ons, sentences are being taught in a meaningful way, and they're really making a connection with this explicit instruction. This was the beginning of a planning page for a paragraph, so it's just the start. I didn't have the time to go and get a little bit more of the rough draft, but you'll see over here on the right a writing checklist. And what the point that I like to make is the teacher can take this writing checklist and use it as a rubric for standards and what would make what the students, the benchmarks that the students should be trying to make in their paper. So it's good for the students because they can reflect on their own work using this checklist. And again, it's a good tool for the teacher. The next slide is a published piece by one of the students I worked with, Ulissa. And you'll see her wampum belt up at the top. She has really nice paragraph form. She's definitely advanced. And she's worked very hard on her writing. And I'm just going to read you her final Wampum belts are used by the Haudenosaunee to tell stories. The Haudenosaunee also used wampum belts for recording history and making agreements. This wampum belt is going to tell a story about me, just like the Haudenosaunee did. My first soccer ball symbol is a soccer ball. The soccer ball symbolizes me because soccer is very fun to play. I like to get even better at making goals. I like to score goals. I play with my brother, Edvaldo, and we get better each time. My dad taught us, and he's very good at soccer. This this connects me to the Haudenosaunee because we are a strong family that is a great team. The Haudenosaunee always work together. Family is important to them as well. I know this because the birth of the Haudenosaunee, in this text that they read, the birth of the Haudenosaunee, it says the peacemaker further symbolized this union of peace by selecting the white pine tree. I kept this piece right here because she had a she misspelled it, but the other ones I corrected. What I learned is that students feel excited about a final finished product, and that carries them through smaller lessons when they know that they are working toward a goal. And students love to make personal connections to informational text and research. And that's all, folks.